Welcome back to That's Logistics, baby.
So today we're back to Reddit, our favorite. It's a mix between stories on the road and dispatcher stories.
Okay.
So to the mouth breather at TQL.
Hate it already. Mainly because one could argue that could be me.
I thought it was a very catching headline to start.
Yep.
Mouth breather?
I'm impressed.
Yeah. They really went for the throat on that one. I did your job for you today. You left a flatbed truck high and dry in Charlotte on a job site for 2 days. Stopped communicating with both the driver and dispatch. It took me 2 phone calls to get someone on site for offload. Your customer, by the way, is doing this. Since you're probably not paying that layover they requested of you, since you're not paying that layover that they requested of you, you can Venmo me for my work. Do us all a favor and stop running job site loads. You can make it harder and more expensive for the rest of us that actually know what we're doing. Sincerely, your friendly neighbor brokered.
Oh.
I thought it was kind of funny.
That's awkward.
The title just killed me.
Yeah.
Mouth breather.
Well.
Had to add it. Had to.
For sure you had to.
Okay, this story is my dad has been driving for as long as I can remember. He's mostly local, but he still has some stories. Most of them revolve around idiots in cars who don't seem to understand how long it takes to stop an 18-wheeler.
Mm-hmm.
Once he was driving into Boston and this guy cut him off. He hit the brakes and thought he was good. He went on his way. People were honking at him and he didn't understand why. So he slowed down and out from under the front of his truck flew this tiny little red car. The driver of the car had the pedal to the floor and he shot across the highway and onto the side of the road. He wasn't hurt, but just terrified.
Oh my gosh.
Isn't that crazy? My dad had no idea he was there. When he tried to exchange insurance info with the guy, he waved him off and said nothing happened. Moral of the story, don't cut off an 18-wheeler.
Whoa. Yeah, seriously. That's crazy.
I feel like that's not the first time I've heard of that happening, of a little car getting stuck under the truck.
Yeah, but also probably not the truck itself, but like the trailer, right? And like why, I guess, I feel like I have normal road rage, right? Like when I have somewhere to be.
Get out of my way.
Right, get out of my way.
Don't try me.
But like never with an 18-wheeler. Like truly, and I don't know if it's just because I've seen and I've heard a lot. Obviously I'm not the driver, but right, pretty close to home in that sense. And it's just like, why mess with it?
Yeah,
that's crazy.
No good could come out of it.
None. And like you hear these stories, but very few of them, like the driver was okay, like the person that went through that was okay. That's so scary.
It's just like, what would you do in that moment? You're the car sliding under the trailer and you're like, what do I do? How do I get out?
Honestly, I have no idea. I'm the type of person that freezes in a panicked situation. Like, oh my gosh.
You're like, what do I do?
When it comes to my kids, I can react. But when it comes to me, freeze all day long.
No.
So let's just pray that never happens.
Yeah. Okay. This next one. Okay. So this title says, it says broker. Broker will not use us because we refuse to provide our driver's social security number. A carrier here, I thought it was a scammer, so we called the company's listed number, and sure enough, they require each driver to provide their social security number to book a load with them. It is part of their new fraud prevention tools. They're not a small or new broker, and we've done quite a bit of business with them over the years. Curious if any of you other brokers require this. It seems sketchy. Like, what if your stuff is hacked and my driver's social is now stolen? Yeah,
that doesn't seem legal. It
doesn't
seem right.
Isn't that crazy?
That's like the first I've heard of it. Unless it's like a super required.
Yeah.
Right? It's like a government load.
Right.
Yeah. So, but you're going into like military base or something.
Right. Like it would have to add up to make sense for that request. Someone comments, let's pretend for a minute that this broker's request is legit. 2 things. First, I would stop working with this broker immediately until you are given explicit details of how this data will be used and kept in writing. Smart. And also, you don't know how they're going to be using that.
Right.
And what their security levels are.
Right.
Like if that company gets hacked. If you go along with it without doing due diligence, it could expose you to all sorts of liabilities, some of which may not even be covered by your business liability insurance. Read over your policy carefully because there should be a clause in there about identity theft and data security. Generally, it will say that you have coverage amounts covering certain incidents, so as long as there are reasonable steps were taken to ensure data security. If you were just to send a bunch of names and socials in an email as opposed to an encrypted service, your insurer may argue that you didn't take reasonable precautions to protect sensitive information. Depending on the state, you may also need your employees' written consent to share their personal info with a third party data, which is just so many steps.
So many steps. Again, it just doesn't seem legal.
Right? It's
I
crazy.
don't know.
It's wild.
It's wild.
Crazy. Oh, they also made a good point. So he goes to say, second, this is more of a question, why would a social be more helpful in preventing fraud as opposed to a copy of a driver's license?
It's true.
Which is a good point.
It's very true. Because one could just borrow someone else's social security number that's out there.
That's true.
I don't know. That's crazy.
Yeah. Wild. This next one is a story. I was a shipping broker for a while. One driver didn't secure a load, and an 8,000-pound motor for a giant earth mover fell out of the corner of the trailer onto the road, tore the truck apart, and caused $26,000 in damage to the engine. Had to get a wrecker to get the motor back to the shipper. Lots of unhappy people.
Yikes.
It's a lot.
And also, no one else got hurt. No other wrecks. That's pretty shocking.
I mean, I don't know if there was wrecks. He didn't mention it, but just the damage alone and
crazy.
For that to come out in the middle of the road, I'm sure there had to have been.
Right.
That's a lot of weight.
And sometimes, too, if there's enough damage done to the road, then you're also having to, cover that cost.
Right.
Crazy.
Wild.
Won't be hauling any of those anytime soon.
Yeah, pass on that, please. Have you heard of AI dispatchers?
Very vaguely, primarily by people that are reaching out to me.
Oh, really?
Via LinkedIn, trying to
sell it?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Have you looked at all into it? What are your thoughts on AI dispatchers?
It seems as though it's not fully established, and maybe it's just their pitches aren't fully there to keep me intrigued, maybe to want to ask them okay, let's set up a call. So I don't know, I truly haven't done any research on it. It just seems like it is a solution for part of it, not fully. There's maybe more development that needs to happen, because I think there's so many nuances that can occur within a dispatch that's not fully worked through. If that makes sense. But
this person posted on Reddit about AI dispatchers, and he said that he got his first call from an AI dispatcher. Have any of you received these calls yet? I asked if it was a real person, and they admitted that they were an AI, and I hung up on them immediately. Figure there were plenty of real people working I can book with. So would you guys book your freight with an AI if the MC number looked right? Is this the future and I just need to accept it? Are the robots going to come for all of our jobs?
I mean, it's a valid question.
Which is so interesting that it admitted it was AI.
Mm-hmm. It probably has to, right?
You think?
There
legally?
has to be a clause, yeah.
Or ethically?
Yeah. I would think.
You'd hope.
That's crazy.
And it makes it if they lean on AI, they're taking the relationship building out of a broker carrier.
True, but my opinion is in today's market and climate, shippers are already doing that. They're taking the relationship out of it and just making it a strictly cost-driven decision.
Yeah.
And which is okay, right? We understand that's a big part of
business,
who you're choosing to do business with.
Right.
But oftentimes we've seen, a lot of their primaries and secondaries fall out of place because it's not just about the money. It's also, do the teams have good synergies? Do they work well together?
Right.
And service, of course, number two thing, if not number one. Some companies value that over the price. But yeah, I feel like more and more shippers are hesitant to having that relationship.
That's so interesting, because at one point in time it was based heavily on that. Right?
And I would say it still can be with certain shippers. But in today's climate where you have a lot more carriers
Mhm.
than, you know,
Right.
you really need as a shipper. They
Yeah.
just feel bombarded. So I can also understand why they would be like, hey, we're not taking any visitors.
Yeah.
We're not taking any appointments.
Right.
Right. To make it fair across the board. But I don't know.
Interesting.
It's just, I don't know. It's a different
Climate.
Yes.
Got it. Crazy. This one is talking about recruiting for brokers and account managers.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you have experience in doing so. They ask, those of you that run an agency, what are your best tips for adding new but somewhat experienced brokers to your business? They've hit a rut 3 or 4 months into their hiring process. Want to hear of what you're doing and if it works. And it's funny because some of the comments in response to this was, why would you ask this? Like, this is something that you need to pay for to ask. People were getting heated in the comment section.
That's funny.
But there was someone who responded to it that I thought was kind enough to respond. And they say, when I chose a new brokerage back in 2019, this is from like a prospect perspective, like someone's hiring them, like they're an account manager. So when I chose a new brokerage back in 2019, I looked for a company that had higher commission splits. Let's face it, money talks. Secondly, what are your company reviews? And I don't mean from carriers, but from the agents that work with your office. They would have a better chance via your referral than you might. We agents want to hear from another agent that's been with you for some time to get the ups and downs of working with you. I've had my main office ask me a couple of times if I could speak with prospective agents. Also, your reputation of how you treat your agents will give prospective agents an idea of what to expect. Again, this would be best done by one of your agents. Personally, I worked with the brokerage for a couple of years. At the beginning, they basically treated me like an employee with no insurance benefits, etc. I am and was a 1099 agent, and they would reassign customers to other agents while I was booking loads with them, whereas when I switched, my current brokerage treats me like a partner. It's kind of what they said.
Makes sense. So what's the question?
So the question I have for you is how difficult is it to recruit for a broker and account manager position?
I mean, it's super difficult because if they're good at their job, they're going to be great at selling themselves to you. Right? Whether that's 1 interview, 2 or 3, they're going to know all the right things to say and how to say it. In my experience, what really comes to light is between day 30 to day 60, sometimes 90. It really, once they get acclimated to the systems and the processes that you're requiring for your book of business or your business, after that has kind of taken place and they've gotten acclimated, really seeing them hit the ground running or not. And so we've identified that creating a clause in there of like, hey, this is like a 90-day probation period, right? We're sure, money does talk. So there has to be some conversations around the commissions and whatnot. And we can get strategic and custom based on the talent that we're wanting to bring on. But generally speaking, you really see what that person is made of by day 30 to 60. And you're hopefully making a wise decision by, 90 days if they're going to be a good fit or not. And I totally agree that if they're also a good agent, they've already done outreach to people that are within your 4 walls, right?
Right.
And if you're doing a good job of keeping your people happy, then that's going to sell itself. And so I don't know, you just got to keep an eye on it. I think a lot of people will lose traction and just kind of let them do their own thing and not be involved so heavily to really be like, hey, I'm not going light on this, right? This is what we talked about. This is what we agreed on. And like,
you're either going to execute.
I need to see it, right? I need to see it so that I can eventually back away knowing and trusting, right? It's like trust but verify.
Right. Very much so.
Yes.
Well, that's all we had. Actually, I have one more. To end on a light note, I have one more road story for you.
Okay, let's hear it.
It says, out in remote Montana, my dad had a can of either, I don't know what this guy was trying to say, but basically something sprayed into the battery box, which caused a fire in the interior of the truck
Oh, no.
while he was driving down the road.
No, I hate that.
He downshifted so it would eventually slow down and aimed the truck off the road at an open field, then jumped out. I shit you not, the police counted his shoe marks on the highway several yards apart at first. He somehow managed to keep upright, doing the Olympic triple jump down the blacktop. He did eventually fall and get scraped up badly. Then he got up, chased after his truck, which was driving a long, slow circle out in the field, opened the side hatch while running beside it, got his fire extinguisher and put out the fire. I saw the tracks, the burnt truck, and the used extinguisher and my dad's scrapes. I always wish somehow someone could have seen it.
That's
So it sounds like he
wild.
also got caught on fire.
Oh my gosh, that is wild.
How terrifying. You're just driving, doing your job. You're like, what's that smell?
He's like,
Why is my leg warm?
right. Oh my gosh, that's so terrifying.
You have to be quick. Like a driver has to be quick on their feet.
Mhm.
A quick thinker, right? Like to
Mhm.
problem solve because they never know what they're going to run into.
It's true. And also just like that agility,
Yeah.
like of this driver.
Yeah. Oh,
right?
yeah.
Because, like the way I interpreted the story, I'm imagining someone that's like jumping out while it's moving,
Mhm.
but then also jumping back in to extinguish it. Like, wow.
Yeah.
What's the
Well-
cardio? What's the gym workout for this type of agility? That's
Right.
happening? Or is
Can
it
I-
just the survival mode?
Yeah. You're like, can I get the routine? But yeah, that's all we had.
Awesome. Perfect.
For more stories, catch us next week.